Progress! Remember a while ago I made a video and I said I'm going to sort out LEGO instruction manuals and put them into a filing cabinet, and I may have mentioned or done a separate video about catalogs and magazines. Well, this is the first half of it, where it's 2020 all the way back to 2010. This drawer actually does come out more, but since I don't have another drawer underneath it, it does make it top heavy for the moment. That's why I'm just carefully keeping this open for now. Surprisingly, a lot in 2015 and a lot in 2012 are in here. This is Lego Club magazines, store calendars, any of the catalogs that are in the mail or from the stores as well. Other promotional material that sometimes appears between them, something similar to that, non-instruction manual kind of stuff usually. So, close that up so that'll stay more balanced. There's a bunch of duplicates in there, but I will go through those individually sometime later. At least for now, I want to just figure out what's from what year as best as possible. I do find every once in a while more stacks of instructions, and even recent sets. I got a bunch of instruction manuals to sort out. This stack in particular was from a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, about 3 years ago, when a former friend of mine asked me to take on a whole bunch of Lego sets, cram my car with them, for me to take home, build them, possibly do videos with them, and then bring them back to him and tell about if they were complete or not. That didn't work out because there was a lot of unloading on me. I was trying to be careful with it, and he just kind of threw everything and was like, "Yeah, this will be fine." It's like, you got to be kidding me. I've reached out to him before, even after we've split ways. I've reached out to him before about asking, "Hey, do you still need these instructions? I found them. I'm sure they go along with a bunch of the sets. You might still need them for whatever reason." And I haven't heard back from that, unfortunately. So they're here. I don't know if I sort them, because I don't own the medieval market right there. I don't know what to do with them, honestly. And I'm not going to burn them. I'm not going to throw them out. They're still useful, but they're from all sets that I don't own. I don't own the Legorado Fort yet, eventually. I'm going to get back to why there's no drawer under there in just a second. First of all, that seems different. Usually there's a computer desk here. So what I did was, a few days ago, I took out a mini fridge that was sitting in my bedroom. It stopped working at a point. It always was a bit finicky. It still refrigerated things fine. It was the freezer I was always concerned about, because it was either too warm or too cold. It would just create ice without anything being there, or it wouldn't keep cool anything that was there. But, to be fair, it was a hand-me-down. It was a thing that I didn't get brand new, so it might have already had something before that. But luckily, it hasn't affected anything else in the room. Once that got taken out of the way, I actually moved around a bunch of furniture. So now, this is a bit of a different setup. This dresser over here, it usually has a bunch of important papers and documents from several years back. Used to be over in that area. We have this stacked up for now. Not permanent. Gonna change that out sometime soon. I'm definitely gonna have to clean out a bunch of this stuff, but again, still having a walking space. Moved around some of the video game units. I thought it worked better having the TV in that corner as opposed to the small one. The small one has buttons on this side, so every time I had to get over here, I was basically pressing against the wall. It was not fun. A lot of rewiring to do, so currently everything is unplugged except for lights, and the essential things, just to use around the room. But any of the video game stuff is currently unplugged, which is fine. I did have another outlet or two that I was going to use to try to split up everything, make it a little bit easier instead of overwhelming it on one daisy chain. So that will be taken care of sometime later. But one thing I wanted to do with this is move around the computer desk. So that way it's a bit closer to those outlets. It was already working off of them, but it was just further out and again on a daisy chain with a bunch of other stuff. So if I split that up a bit, I might not even need to plug back in all this stuff. There's 2 monitors here and 2 desktops underneath. They're not the most useful desktops. They've been slowly falling apart over time. So they may go at some point. I'm just still going to look over, see if there's any documents left on them, what their performances are like. I do have another one in the garage, and I still have to test out if that's worthy, because I haven't looked at that one in a long time. And whatever ones aren't worth it, you know, move them out. So that way there's a much easier space to use. I could put the laptop on here, much easier to use that. It's been a building space for a while, so yeah, I'll take care of that as well. I do have an awkward gap in here because of how everything worked out, like shifting around furniture. I may be able to use that for either some Lego boxes or other things that are more slim, which is fine. I have already put some poster board back here. I do have a bunch more poster board to add in as well, but yeah, that'll happen sometime later. The shelf is going fine. This I still need to work on, but it's getting better. I would eventually like this shelf to be just for displays or storing stuff better, because you can see there's a lot of empty space in here. That also goes with the shelf that's in the garage for all the backlog. You know, the Lego sets I haven't built yet or have sealed for some specific reason. Ones here are sealed and for a resale. So that has a purpose. But other ones, yeah. And this by itself could be worked up. Other space around it as well. Yada yada. So moving on. I have the other drawer over here. Already has the filing folders in it. And I've already gone through categorizing the rest of it. The problem that I had was two things. One, most of my magazines and catalogs are from about the 90s, 95-ish onward. Although I do still have some older than that I've picked up over time, used from other people, sometimes gotten in a trade, whatever the case may be. Sometimes Lego sets still had them with them. So what do I do with those? You know, how are those organized? And then there was the other issue, the fact of I didn't have enough labels for every single folder. What do? All I did was I continued from the top layer, from 2020 to 2010. Those were, you know, by year. I continued this by year until it goes back to 1995. And this folder, 1990 to 1995. Giving it a solid somewhere in between. There's not a lot of them, so grouping it together won't make it too bulky. And then there's a folder before that that's called pre-90s, which is the 80s, 70s, 60s, whatever may be in there. Again, not too many of them, but at least enough divide between them that if I wanted to look for something, I know where to find it. And then just a blue folder. I don't know what's going to go in there yet. I haven't given it a label. For these labels, I've just basically done the math with it, and I gave it every other year a label on that folder. There's still folders in between 2005, 2007. There is one in between that is reserved for 2006 items, but just doesn't have a label at the moment. As long as I can find a way to get more of those, then that'll be easier to go through. And this was all sitting inside of there previously with the filing cabinet for a while. And I still have to go through a lot of these papers. Whether or not they're Lego related, some might be instructions. But the problem with these is that these are very old magazines I've read constantly as a kid and had a very great amount of use with. So there are a lot of these that are ripped pages or circled things, cut out things, and they might be harder to identify. So it will take me a bit longer to do this unless I have a really good computer next to me just to back up on information like, oh, this is a brand new set in this catalog and this is the year that it came out, therefore it must go in this year. Something like that. I'm sure there's some in between that will be a bit confusing, and I don't plan right now to make any of these chronological inside of the folders. Like even the first one, I don't have it labeled with, these are not in order of, their release. Like this would be January, this would be December, or something like that. That doesn't matter to me. It's in the year, it's fine. So there's a lot of papers to work out. And it's probably not as many because they're just scattered pages that are, separated from the original magazine or catalog. I already showed there are a couple of them on my desk. Still going to take me a while, but at least I got a good idea where it's going to go. There's also another bag of it over here with more stuff. I think this Jack Stone one, was not even from a Lego catalog or magazine. It was something that I remember at the time finding in, I think, a Highlights? Yeah, Highlights or something else. Some completely other magazine. We were doing a project in school that had paper mache or like collaging. We were taking a whole bunch of old newspapers and magazines or whatever, cutting them up and shaping them into something new. And I found this in here and I put it in my folder and brought it home. I saved this possibly pointless ad for Lego Jack Stone because I didn't find it in a magazine before and because it had Lego on it. I think I might even have two of these because I remember cutting one up and doing some artwork. I used to do a thing where I would take magazine cutouts, even from official Lego magazines, and I'd like scrapbook them or collage them on my own piece of paper or draw around them or something. It was kind of fun. But that one I found funny, just sticking out of the bag there. So there's that. Oh, is this another bag of it? Oh no. Yeah, I got my work cut out for me. 4 giant bags full of magazines and catalogs to still sort through, on top of the instructions I still have from my collection and otherwise to take care of in the other drawer. But I hope that was a fun little update about the place. Here's a quick look around. Seeing that little view. I took photos before and after. So there gives a better idea how this looks a bit different. Still got to clean up, of course, all of that. But I think this is going to work out a lot better than what I had before. Especially with the chair. It's not going to be in the way of the table as much. And it's going to be more accessible for the computer. That's way better. Even if I don't use the computers themselves, but just to have a desk. I know the point of the laptop is so that I can put it anywhere on my lap, on a whatever, most surfaces, but it is better. I'm more used to it being on a desk. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you guys later. Take care and be excellent to each other.